Welcome to Getting Gibbed, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And just like the Star Wars movie of the same name, this episode will have no actual clones attacking. I am Chris, also known on these interwebs as the Beckloff.
Chase.
And I am Nick. Also known as I have no idea.
Also known as Do Not Have a Catchphrase.
Alright, so, the Feminist Frequency.
Oh, goodness gracious.
We've all seen these videos. What's her name?
Anna Sarkeesian?
Yeah, just babbling on about how the princess is sexist because Mario has to save her. It's all a load of horse shit. These videos are so poorly produced and so poorly researched, and her arguments are so paper thin, and she's made buttloads of money doing this. She has made so much money. Her Kickstarter is... It's almost a scam. I almost wonder if this just was horse shit to try and get a bunch of white niners and femicunts to just send her all kinds of money.
Do you know what's funny is for her to show up her research and all this, you have to pay $20. She'll give you a thank you and all this, and I just don't understand why I have to pay money to see her research and her citations and all that.
Well, because she doesn't have any, okay? I mean, I'll give her $20 to make me a sandwich. I mean, and you know what? I make these jokes because it's fun. Because when you're that obnoxiously up your own ass and you want to make those kind of jokes. You want to be like, just shut up, make me a sandwich. Because you want to piss her off more.
I mean, I'm for equality and, like, you know, equal for all gender, sex, and whatever. But, I don't know, some of these feminists... It just seems like, you know, like
the modern feminist movement is not about equality. It's about some sort of revenge power play.
Like an entitlement.
Yeah, it's about special rights. It's about entitlement. But more to the point, I mean, she's dissecting mostly children's games, not modern video games primarily. You know, she's dissecting Mario. Mario is basically an effed up on shrooms version of a fairy tale. Of course, it has a princess being rescued. I mean, plus Mario 2 has a princess as a playable character. One of the easier to play as playable characters.
Well, let's be honest, though. Like, if I was going to kidnap somebody, who would I kidnap?
You're
the
going to kidnap
princess
royalty.
or the plumber?
You know, it's ridiculousness. And she makes the same argument with Zelda. And, I mean, that's an even weaker argument with Zelda, because the character... She was a ninja in a couple of the games helping Link. You know, I mean, in the cartoon, if you remember, she was just as much of a badass as Link practically. She had the bow and arrow and was helping him all the time.
Didn't she have, like, magic spells and stuff?
I think so. In some of the games, probably. There's been 1,000 Zelda games. I've only played roughly half.
You know what I always find funny is that when the princess is getting kidnapped, where is the king and where are the guards? Why is
there never seems to be a king in any of these kingdoms. There's no Mushroom Kingdom king.
Well,
I don't know why. I know why she's not queen. But
yeah, the thing I find funny is she picks a specific trope in a video game, put under a microscope, and blew it up for her fellow feminists to point their blames on the media. The genre is full of tropes. Heroes versus villain, good versus bad. Why do we always have to play as a good guy? Why is the bad guy always a male? That I don't understand.
Yeah, and these tropes exist for reasons. These tropes exist because a lot of times they speak to things about the human condition. You know, these are stories that have existed for thousands of years. And guess what? The motivation of someone stole your loved one and kidnapped them is a pretty strong motivation. Especially for early video games that had 2 seconds to explain a story.
Yeah, you can't really... I don't know.
We can't get into complex socioeconomic realities of the Mushroom Kingdom for little kids.
With this conversation, you really can't win. Because if you don't save her, you're a jackass. And if you do try to save her, oh, hey, you think I'm helpless female? I could probably get out of this prison.
Yeah.
That's honestly the thing. If she ever was to debate someone, which she probably won't, but the person could simply win by saying, what do you want? Because whenever there is a strong female character, someone points that out, she goes, oh, that's just a man with tits.
I don't understand that.
I mean, what does she want Mario to do? Does she want Mario to just sit around and cry about it Maybe go to a little mushroom house with a little mushroom man that has a little Sigmund Freud, like him and Bowser go into therapy to work out their differences. He's all sitting there like, oh, you know, I feel like it would be great if you would stop kidnapping my girlfriend and raping her with your reptilian thorny penis.
Bowser would be like, I hear what you're saying and I respect that, but you need to understand, I like to rape princesses with my penis.
I mean, you know, it's like, oh no. And then in one video, she describes the woman as being a ball in this game between the hero and villain. And it's like, no, maybe it's more of a loved one that this evil turtle dragon has stolen from you.
This is a ridiculous subject for me to even bother with. I've been quiet for most of this time, but like, there's just it's hard to argue with someone who ignores any counter argument at all. If you look at her, she doesn't even allow comments on any of her things. So, which
is actually kind of sad, because can you imagine the comedy fest that would be?
Right.
I mean, when someone's that obnoxious, you just want to troll them. I mean, you want to get on the Kickstarter and be like, I'll send you $20 if you make me a sandwich.
Right.
Yeah.
And you want to mess with somebody that bad. She complains that she got trolled. Of course you got trolled. You threw out troll bait. There's people who go on the internet specifically just to fuck with people. And they're going to see you and say, oh, hot damn. That I got to get some of.
Right.
And, you know, just to be clear, she never mentions any of, like, the strong female characters, like Samus Aran from Metroid, Lara Croft. I mean, I know she's kind of sexualized and all, but she's killing tigers.
The last game, I didn't think she was very sexualized.
No, she was like a normal chick.
Yeah.
And then there's also, like, Nana from the Ice Climber, Jill Valentine's from Resident Evil.
Lightning from the Final Fantasy series.
Yeah, there you go. They're pretty strong, but I guess she doesn't think that that's strong female.
It's got nothing to do
guys.
with that. No, it has to do with the fact that it's counterproductive to the point she's trying to make. So if she's going to be proven wrong, she's going to ignore it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, these things aren't going to fund her Kickstarter. And she made a ton of money on that.
Yeah,
for videos that she has yet to produce. How much money do you need to make 13 YouTube videos?
Isn't it supposed to be done by now, though?
Yeah, it's not like she's got extensive research.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Spoonie got their videos done with much less money than that.
Yeah, and with much higher quality.
So,
I mean, there's already, like, a bunch of people that debunked her. Like, Instigative Journalism, The Amazing Atheist. All of them, they already did all their research, you know. Apparently, what they said is that she did, like, some of these, she did a thesis on, like, how people perceive women.
The only reason we bring it up here is because it's funny. At least to me. I find her hilarious. I think I'd almost be happy if I found out this was some sort of Andy Kaufman-like joke. And she's actually trying to mock, like, modern feminism, because it's that ridiculous. Like I said, it's really a travesty that she doesn't debate somebody or that she doesn't allow comments, because, man, the entertainment value. For one, I couldn't debate her. I mean, you obviously can rip her arguments apart, but it almost becomes not even fun. I'd just be like, I'd make arguments and just call her sweetie or kitten or something. Pull the Bill Murray scene from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, like I said, me personally, I don't have much to say on the subject. It's just it's like a dog chasing its own tail. It's ridiculous. Anybody who hasn't seen it, I almost feel hesitant to even say.
It's really hard to watch.
Go check it out, but
you'll get about 5 minutes into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth a look.
It's much more fun to watch somebody else rip it apart.
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. You know that she has, like, topics or like, what is it called? Like, labels for some of these damsels in distress, like the regular damsel distress, and then you get the damsels in the refrigerator, which, I mean, if you think about it, she targeted Green Lantern and, like, Max Payne and Kratos and Corvo. If you think about it, who would you attack?
Yeah, that drives me nuts. And being a comic book fan, I keep hearing the women. Anytime a woman is so much as slapped in a comic book, some whiny butthurt nerd on the internet is going to cry "women in refrigerators."
Right.
And this comes from Gail Simone, who is a great writer, But I don't know. She was bitching on her period one day or something. And she decided that scene in Green Lantern was so horrible. I, for one, think that was a great scene. Kyle Rayner ended up becoming a superhero because his girlfriend pushed him into it. His girlfriend got him to nut up or shut up. She inspired him, basically. And then he runs afoul of this one supervillain who finds out who he is and proceeds to go home and murder her and stuff her in a refrigerator. That's gnarly. That's powerful stuff.
Right.
You come home and your loved one is shoved in a refrigerator and some asshole sociopath leaves a little note laughing at you for it. That is gnarly stuff. And to say like, oh, well, this character was just used to motivate this character. She was a plot device to motivate him into being a hero. You know, you don't hear like parents in refrigerators because all these comic book heroes have lost parental figures and that's what motivated them. Of course that's going to be used sometimes. It's a loved one's death that motivates you. Nobody says the Punisher is a woman in refrigerator story. His wife was killed.
Right.
You know, nobody accuses Gwen Stacy of it. It was basically started because, as I understand it, and anybody could correct me if I'm wrong, Gail Simone was having a hissy fit with Ron Mars, the writer. They were having a little feud. She latched onto it, and every butthurt white knighter in comic book nerd wanted to take her side.
Not only that, but also if you think about it, Gwen Stacy did not make Spider-Man. Uncle Ben made Spider-Man.
Right.
Where's
the uncle in the refrigerator?
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's no
Batman's
parental
parents.
figure in the refrigerator trope. You know, apparently if it's your mom stuffed in a refrigerator, that's fine. But better not be your girlfriend, or that's somehow sexist.
That's very sexist.
And I somehow doubt anyone would have cried sexism had the reverse ever happened.
Right.
Had Miss Marvel come home to find her boyfriend stuffed in a refrigerator, no one would bat an eye.
Also funny that the disposable damsel thing, where basically if the guy failed, he puts her out of her misery. I mean, if you think about it, what would you do if somebody's suffering?
Oh, the mercy killing thing.
Yeah, the mercy killing.
Well, you don't. It's like you have to ask yourself a question: what would you want done?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that's the horse shit about it. Is if she's saying that if she was in the situation, she'd just want to linger and die slowly. Like, I know I wouldn't. I'd hope to God that, you know, my significant other would blow my brains out or do whatever to ease my passing. Not be like, hey, you know, enjoy dying, douche.
It literally seems like you can't have any kind of heterosexual romance or sexuality in a video game without her crying sexism. If you have a male hero who has a love interest, oh, the woman's just the love interest. If she's in danger and that's a plot device, oh, it's the damsel in distress. And, you know, if she's killed, oh, it's a woman in the refrigerator. You know, if he fails to save her, oh, it's a disposable damsel. If he saves her, it's like, oh, he just got to save her because she's so weak and helpless. And again, I mean, if there was the reverse of it, I don't think she'd bat an eye.
No.
You know, oh, it doesn't, you're saying the guy can't figure stuff out. And what's more, you know, nobody talks about sexism in media in general the other way around. I mean, how many TV shows do you see where the husband and father is a bumbling idiot, if not an outright asshole? You know, every little kid's cartoon out there right now, the girls are always smart and wise, and the kids are the boys are bumbling morons. And yet this one media that feminism hasn't completely taken over, and it's sexist.
Right.
But then again, the gaming genre has always been under attack. Like, you think about, like, Jack Thompson and how the Columbine shooting, and they blame it on the video games, the violent video games. I mean, people have researched this, and there is no correlation between violent video games and people, like, prone to violence.
Well, there's correlation, but there's
upbringing.
not causation. You know, yeah, if somebody is prone to violence, they're probably going to like violent video games. It doesn't necessarily mean that one causes the other. You know, they both are sprung from the same cause. And this violence in video games catch a bad flack mostly because it's such a relatively young media. I mean, this is flack that comic books had to go through in the 50s. That TV has had to go through. You know, movies have had to go through. Every new form of media has had to go through this. And you get these nanny state politicians, and I mean, they're, you know, none of them grew up with video games. They think it's, you know, silliness. They think it's Pong. It's just a fancy version of Pong. They don't understand it. They don't like it.
They
So
don't
that's what they're gonna
understand
go
the
after.
young people.
They don't. That's what it boils down to. You got crotchety old John McCain out there. Yeah, he doesn't understand the young people. And he's going to go after video games because he doesn't understand it.
Right.
You know, he was 30 when video games hit the scene.
I just wanted to bring it back and talk about. I completely forgot her name. Okay, I just wanted to bring it back about.
I just call her feminist frequency. I can't be bothered to learn.
Anna Kournikova.
Anita Sarkeesian. Okay, that's what her name was. But on her first Damsel in Distress, she's talking about all these damsels and how it's sexist. But at the end of the video, she says, and I quote, "Just to be clear, I'm not saying that all games that use the damsel in distress as a plot device are automatically sexist." But that's exactly what she's saying.
Yeah, what is she saying? It's the amount of them? Well, then what is the magic amount of this?
Right.
That, you know, how many games can we, you know... Do we have, you know, is it just, can only Mario be this way? Or is it, if it happens in a more adult game, then it's sexist?
I don't understand it.
Well, there's nothing to understand. I mean, we're sitting here, we're railing against it. We're one voice in the chorus that's basically telling her to shut the hell up. Which, of course, she will take as proof that she's being victimized. She's making a living doing it. I mean, she's making serious money on that Kickstarter doing this nonsense.
See, that's the thing I don't like about Kickstarter. It's like almost anybody can do a Kickstarter project and get paid for ridiculous. The best
thing about Kickstarter is the worst thing about Kickstarter.
Yeah. The one thing I saw was what was it? The Commander Cobra.
Okay. Yeah.
Making like a Kickstarter.
It's a parody video, Commander Cobra.
And he needs the money to rebuild the Cobra base.
He was telling you what you get, and if you send 10,000, you get a date with the Baroness. Like, man, I wish I was a wealthy man. All right, so here's something I noticed the other day that kind of... I was watching a college humor video, and it was like Princess Peach and Princess Zelda, since we're on the topic of those characters, and their boyfriends Mario and Link show up. And Link is, of course, a big flaming, let's say, metrosexual at the very least. And I've noticed this over and over again, the joke of Link from Legend of Zelda being gay. Like the old Drawn Together cartoon a few years ago, the Link parody was a gay guy. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was Xander or something.
Oh, yeah. Drawn Together, yeah.
And I don't know where this came from. And it's such a common joke. I mean, I get he's an elf and they kind of are a little more feminine, for lack of a better term. But I mean, he, at least in games where he's an adult, he usually looks like a badass.
Yeah. In the cartoon, he's a straight up, kind of a douche.
Yeah, he's like a frat boy, douchey, date rapey guy in the cartoon.
What was that thing that he used to say all the time?
Excuse me, princess.
Yeah, he was all like, "You're gonna give me a kiss. It's gonna happen."
Yeah, he was always going after that.
Yeah, not in any kind of subtle way either. It was very... So, I don't understand where this came from. I mean, does anybody got a theory here? Why everyone wants to say Link is gay?
I have no idea. I mean, I never really thought of him as a badass. It's maybe because the sprite didn't represent him too well.
Right.
Well, I mean, in modern games, you got... I mean, you know...
When I think of a badass, I'm thinking of, like, somebody like Rambo with, like, 50 guns in one arm.
I don't know. He I mean, you know, people can fight me on this because it was by far not the best Link game. But Twilight Princess, he was pretty badass.
Yeah, when I think of later games, I think of this you know, guy with this magic sword that shoots a laser out the end of it. You know, 800 different weapons that he somehow manages to carry
bombs,
on.
boomerangs,
riding the horse, ready to kill this.
Yeah,
this pig guy.
Yeah, this pig guy sometimes, depending on what game we're playing.
Yeah, what version.
But, you know, I'm going to kill this pig monster dragon. And, like I said, I mean... Demon. He definitely seems more badass than I think he gets credit for, and I don't know where the gay jokes come from.
It probably just comes from the idea that, like, oh, he's like an elf and they're fairy folk, and it's just not. I mean, it's basically, I think it comes from a lot from like the jock mentality, where it's like, oh well, look, he wears a tunic and you know his legs are showing, and he's got long hair, so that's probably where it comes from.
He does have a dainty costume. Or a dainty costume.
Well, like I said, once again, it all depends on what version of it you see. You know, because like it's some like he's wearing like that green leather tunic with like what looks like white pants.
Yeah, that's true.
White pants underneath, and the brown boots and the like brown leather straps, and like he looked pretty badass in that game. I mean, but you know.
And I mean, even though, like you talk about the earlier games, even if you look at the art and all, like Legend of Zelda 1, he's supposed to be a little kid.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's not going to look badass when he's a 10-year-old. It's still pretty badass that a 10-year-old's kicking so much ass.
Shouldn't that further solidify his manliness? The fact that he was a kid and kicking Big Demon ass? Like...
Well, to be honest, when I was playing the N64 one, I forget what was it. Not Mask of Mayora.
Ocarina
at the time.
I love that game.
I thought he was just... I mean, he was a good character and all, but it felt to me like just a throwaway character. I mean, I wasn't very invested into that Link, but I enjoyed the game. It's just the character wasn't for me.
I can't get past the Water Temple. To this day, I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong.
Is that the one where you have to like play a certain tune, or?
It's the one where you got to raise and lower the water levels, and I think I might have done it out of sequence, and now I'm stuck. Like,
Yeah,
I honestly think I might be stuck. And I've looked online, a lot of people complain that's the part where they get stuck.
I know I've beaten it. I killed Ganondorf. Got all the Triforces, but can't remember too much of it.
Alright, so while we're on this topic, let's look at evolution of some video game heroes through the years.
I mean, we're already on Link. Let's talk about Link. I mean, I like to think of video games kind of like comic books, where the video games have evolved with the people who play them. They grew up with the people who play them, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like everyone like who thought that comic books were for kids. You know, if you read them, they're pretty mature now. I mean, they're pretty. The subject matter is pretty adult, and I think the same goes with video games. You know, we grew up, at least our generation grew up, you know, with like Nintendo, you know, and Super Mario Brothers, and now we've got stuff like Vice City and Red Dead Redemption, which I think we touched on in the last one.
Are you talking about like the evolution of the actual hero, or the evolution of one hero evolving into another?
We could talk about either subject, really.
Okay.
Both subjects are a fair game. I mean, we could either talk about a specific hero and how they've developed, or just the idea of the Paragon.
Well, the Link thing always fascinates me because I actually got for my birthday that big Hyrule hardcover, the Hyrule Historia, right. And I'm going through, and those games have always had terrible continuity with each other. I mean, to the point of having basically no continuity. Unless something is specifically said to be a sequel to another game, it's almost like they just start completely over. Like Majora's Mask is a sequel to Ocarina. Adventures of Link is a sequel to the first Zelda. And that's about it. But, like, I looked in the thing, and in order to get these games into a continuity, they actually had to split it into 3 timelines. Which, Ocarina of Time being the first game, and then from there, like, different games split as, like, different endings to Ocarina of Time.
So is that like Majora's Mask? And
yeah, because I guess there's time travel in Ocarina of Time. They're saying these different games can follow 3 different timelines. Oh. And even to get that work to work in 3 different timelines, they still have to make it so that the different versions of Link and Zelda are actually, like, ancestors or reincarnations. Like, a couple 100 years down the line.
It is interesting.
In order to get them to work. So, I mean...
So, does that tie in with the Wind Waker and all that? Or?
I forget which timeline Wind Waker was. I remember the one thing that caught my eye was the first Legend of Zelda game is supposed to be basically at the end of one of these timelines. But, yeah, these games... I mean, they never kept any continuity with them because at the time it didn't matter. And now it's reached a point where video game fans expect that. So, they've got to quickly try and shoehorn some sort of continuity. Right. When the reality is, you know, you almost need a Crisis on Infinite Hyrules.
I will admit that, like, the characters nowadays are a little bit more grittier.
We've entered the age of the anti-hero.
Much like comics of the 90s.
Yeah, like the hero isn't, you know, he isn't just the regular old good guy. Even and sometimes, as a matter of fact, like he's not even being a good guy to be a good guy. He's being a good guy to meet his own ends. You know what I mean? It just so happens that he's following the path that happens to be good.
I know what you mean. Like games like Mass Effect or Oblivion, where you can choose the path of how you want to. Yeah. I mean, you're still a good guy though, but
you can be an asshole.
You can be an asshole on how you approach the person.
There's even games that allow you to straight up be the villain anymore. Which, I mean, there was a little bit of that when, you know, we were kids. I mean, I remember the Jurassic Park game I had on the Genesis. You could play as the raptor.
Could you really? Oh,
yeah. You try to hunt down Grant.
There is one game, I forget what it is. I think it was like Dungeon Keeper or something like that, or Dungeon Watch or something, where you basically like have this dungeon and you're this guy who got reincarnated, and you have to plan traps for adventurer to like fall into.
Yeah.
There's also another one, I forget, was Tecmo's Deception, where you...
Tecmo's Deception.
You
Yeah, I remember that game.
PS2?
Yeah.
Where you lure all these adventures into your castle, and then you set traps, and then you kill them in like combos of like spikes from the wall and like cages and stuff like that.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It is. It's very fun. I wish they would remake it.
Yeah, that does
Visually though, it's brutal. It is not a good looking game.
So I checked out at the used video game store, because last time we were talking about that Sonic Mega Mix, I checked out those Mario and Mega Man ones that they had.
Yeah.
And the Mario one was just Mario 1 put on the Genesis.
So like a port?
It didn't look like they put any changes into it. And I'm like, I'm not spending decent money on that. And the Mega Man one was Mega Man 1 through 3 and something called the Wily Wars, which was like 4 lost levels that never got made. And you can only access them if you beat Mega Man 1 through 3. And Mega Man games are kind of ball busters, and I've still never beaten Mega Man 1. There's like, out of the 8 Mega Man games I've played, there's like 4 I can't beat at all.
I'm still surprised that they're actually making these cartridges. And like, didn't we have this conversation where you said that they cost like $60?
No, the Sonic Mega Mix one I paid $60, but that was a completely new game essentially. You know, these other ones are just reproductions made for this other system. Because I don't think Mega Man was ever on the Sega systems. I know he's not Nintendo. He was Capcom, but I think he was, at least when it was just Nintendo and Sega, he was exclusive to Nintendo.
Yeah. I don't think they reported. I know later on they had them for like the Xbox and.
Yeah, like I have a Mega Man collection for my PS2, which has like the first game, and I know there were Mega Man games made just for like the PS1 or I think maybe Sega Saturn at that point, and Sega Saturn was kind of limping along.
Let's talk about video game movies then.
Oh man,
for me, there's only a couple of video game movies I ever really thought were very good. I liked the first Tomb Raider movie. I can't even say I loved it. I really liked it. I was very fond of the games, very fond of the characters. I even loved the comic book that was out at the time. And the second one was all right. I think it's unfairly. I think both those movies are kind of unfairly ignored. And I like. Oh man, what's the other one? I'm drawing a blank here. I like the first 2 Resident Evils.
Yeah, they were kind of a stretch from the actual game now.
See, I had actually never really played the game that much. To me, the first Resident Evil movie is the best zombie movie we had in about a decade at that point. I mean, it kind of revived the zombie movie. You know, no pun intended in that.
Because they're undead. But, okay, here's what it is Resident Evil 1, it's basically these Raccoon City police people go in a mansion, no powers whatsoever, they try to survive, and then that was it. Resident Evil, the movie, is based on Alice.
Isn't Alice exclusive to the movies?
I think so,
not
yeah.
even in the games or something? I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, she's basically just for the movie. And she has all these powers. She can, like, karate chop a zombie and do, like, backflips and all these. And the thing is, what gets to me is the movie actually influenced some of the direction that Capcom was going with Resident Evil. I mean, Leon never used to, like, drop kick or pile drive a zombie. He would just stay back and shoot him, maybe, like, push him a little bit. But now he's doing all these, like, suplexes and stuff on him. Yeah. I don't understand. Like,
who's gonna get that close to a zombie?
And then they have all these great explosions. I think it was I forget if it was Resident Evil 5 or something on like that, but it just started to get more like an action movie instead of like a survival horror.
Well, the movies now are pretty awful. I mean, they even blur together. I really can't even think of specifically what happened in any one of the movies except for 1 and 2. And I think they're up to like 5 now or something in the movies. At least 4. I'm pretty sure there's a 5th one.
Yeah, I think there's another one.
And they're just awful at this point. There's almost no nothing matters at this point because the movies almost seem to reset. The movie starts and it's like, oh, that last one was a clone, or this one is a clone. Who the fuck cares? Just watch the movie.
Right.
You're not here for that. Like, don't kid yourself. But I mean, at least it's not a Ula Bowl movie.
Oh, jeez. The Postal and what was the other one, the Far Cry that he made?
I know he did House of the Dead, and this was before I watched this before I even had seen, like, I knew who Ula Bowl was, the Rob Liefeld of directing.
It was so bad. He, like, overdid the slow motion, like,
When
action.
they spin when they die and
Yeah,
everything,
it's the spin death. Yeah.
That's not the part of the video game you're supposed to be adapting, all right? It would have been more enjoyable to go to an arcade and give a 10-year-old a roll of quarters and watch him play House of the Dead. Not play House of the Dead, mind you. Just watching him play would have been much more enjoyable than watching that movie. That movie is so bad. I remember around the time, still going to Blockbuster Video because they still existed at the time. Still kind of do, but it's hard to find them. But I remember the first season of the Ninja Turtles cartoon had come out around the same time, and I was kind of having like a movie night date with my girlfriend, and I was like, we should rent the Ninja Turtles, and she's like, yeah, maybe next time, which was sort of her polite way of saying whatever, dork. But so we get home and we watch this movie, and we're about 20 minutes into it, and she just looks at me and said, we should have rented the Ninja Turtles because this is awful. This is absolute garbage. And what's the other ones he did? I know he did the Blood Rains one, didn't he?
So which one?
Blood
Blood
Rain?
Rain.
It was
Yeah,
like redhead
yes, he did.
vampires like fighting Nazis and...
Yeah, he did.
Oh, man.
There was some TNA in that one.
There's a scene in that Blood Rain movie that he is actually in this scene. I guess somebody is fighting or something. But I just remember, like, he's clapping, and you can see, like, the robe that he's wearing kind of goes down, and you can see his wristwatch. And the movie's supposed to take place in, like, medieval times.
He has a wristwatch.
And the director is doing this. It's like he's taunting you with how much he doesn't give a shit.
I mean, I really haven't seen much of or played any of the Blood Rain. I don't know what
I
time
only kind of
period it is.
vaguely even knew it.
Yeah.
Well, the first one took place in World War II, as I understand it. But I only vaguely even knew about the games. I just rented the movie because I was like, oh, that seems like it could be a fun movie. Because,
Right.
again, I had no idea really who Ula Bowl was. As I'm watching, I'm like, this is so atrociously bad. Like, how is this even a thing? When you're making the Mario Brothers movie look good, you know you're doing something wrong there.
Well, how about some stuff that you like?
I think this is a guilty pleasure, but I actually like the Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I know it was corny, campy, and ridiculous, but
I will back that up. I like that movie too.
I like Mortal Kombat too.
And the reason I like the
pretty good.
Street Fighter movie is because what's the guy that played M. Bison?
Oh,
He died right after that.
the guy who played Gomez Adams.
Yeah, I
Shit.
can't-
Luis Ruiz.
I can't remember the guy's name. I have to apologize right now, but I'm blanking on his name. But he was a great actor.
Raul.
Something like that, yeah. And he was a great M. Bison. And there's a scene in there where I guess it was Chun-Li is like confronting him because he had torched her village or something. When he, and she's all like, oh, you asshole. And he has no idea what she's talking about. She's like, you don't even remember? And he's like, to you, the day M. Bison came through your village was the most important day of your life. To me, it was a Tuesday. And I'm like, that right there was great. Frankly, if the movie had been a little bit more like that, just some powerful character-driven stuff, it would have been amazing.
Right.
But as it stands, it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember renting it when it first came out on video, and I was like 13 or something. But I was like, this was fun. I think I still own it, and I still watch it from time to time.
Another one would be Doom. I don't know if you guys...
Yeah, with The
The
Rock.
one with The Rock?
Yeah.
I actually really did not like that movie.
You didn't like that one?
Well, it's just I really like the Doom games. I think they're a really interesting premise. I think the idea that these guys are on Mars, a space station or whatever, and they're trying to make interdimensional portal, and they accidentally open a portal to hell.
Well, yeah,
It's an interesting mix of like science and magic. And then they took the Doom movie and they didn't make a Doom movie. They just made Resident Evil in space.
Yeah, they
was
replaced it with like
It's
gene manipulation.
Instead of being Doom, it was here's a virus that turns people into zombies, except sometimes it turns people into monsters. That's Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I mean,
Resident Evil in space.
Yeah.
Dead space.
This one's a guilty pleasure for me because it's pure fan service, and anybody who watched it knows exactly what I'm talking about. Final Fantasy Advent Children.
Oh yeah.
Anybody who was a big fan of the Final Fantasy VII game, which to me is still probably one of the best Final Fantasy games, it was this nice little piece of junk food candy for your brain to just
It's
enjoy.
like what happened after.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
What was the Final Fantasy movie? It was all CGI.
Oh, The Spirits Within.
I
That
actually
was,
really liked that
I
movie.
thought that sucked.
I
mean,
like that movie. Now, granted, I understand it has nothing to do with Final
That's
Fantasy.
why I didn't like it. I guess I shouldn't
You
say.
dislike it for the same reason I dislike the Doom movie.
Yeah, because
I
it's not
think
what
if
it's
you
supposed
take it
to
as
be.
a standalone movie, it's pretty good.
Well,
There's a lot of interesting. The idea that these are alien ghosts.
The
that
actors were
fucking
good.
everybody up.
Yeah.
The animation was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it was well done. It just wasn't.
I like how
Final
when
Fantasy movie.
I like how when that Polar Express movie came out a couple years ago, everyone was so amazed with the animation. I'm like, I already saw this animation in a Final Fantasy movie, which
Yeah.
was like 5 or 6 years before that.
Yeah,
so I don't understand how it was
they
such a
had
big
some
deal.
good animation on that one, but also the Advent Children was CGI.
Yeah, and it was phenomenal. Very well done.
That's what I think though. They do. I think if you made it into like a CGI movie, or like DreamWorks or Pixar like that, I think it melds well. It's not like when you try to translate into live action.
Yeah, I don't.
There's like a loss of translation or
I
something
don't
like
think
that.
you need to go live action. Going back to the old Mario Brothers movie, I thought that was the biggest problem with that. Why would you take something that's so surreal, like Mario, and try to make
All
a
right.
live action?
All right, you
movie
know
out of it?
what? I'm gonna just go out there and jump in. I like it. I like the old Mario movie. Because here's the thing. Now, was it stupid? Yes, but it was a great kind of stupid. It was awesome. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't like this stupid ass Goombas? they made me laugh so hard. You know, then they reused that match for the Amazing Spider-Man movie. But I'm not gonna get into that.
What's the scene where the guy being Koopa is like monkey?
Yes,
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
a meme online now. They like play that clip. Just every time the monkey appears, somebody will just play that clip in their video.
And what was that rap song that they played in the club? It was like a dinosaur rap.
Oh,
No
man.
idea.
You know what I'm talking about, though. The movie was good fun. I mean,
I like
I
the
still
boots.
contend though an animated Mario movie could have been a really good family movie,
I like
and
the,
not good in a holy crap this is crazy bad kind of way that the. You're right. I kind of enjoy watching that Mario movie.
if you sit back and think about it, it was fun. It's junk food for your brain.
Just for how ridiculous it was in. It's almost like watching like The Room.
Am I the
You're
only?
like, how did this happen?
Yeah. Am I the only one who like got excited when they saw Babam?
Oh,
I was so excited. I'm like, holy shit!
or
It's a-
Yoshi.
Yeah, all that goofy junk.
I like the way they translated like the jump boots and how they jump higher and all
Yeah.
that.
I saw this one thing on online one time. It was a picture of Keanu Reeves dressed in blue, Vin Diesel dressed in red, and somebody else I forget dressed in like orangish yellow. And it said Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. And like Danny DeVito had a big Dr. Robotnik movie and like mustache, and under it said still more true to the source material than the Mario movie.
Wasn't there like a Goomba with like a harmonica on his face?
Yes. Because they were turning people into Goombas, and earlier in that movie they had shown the guy with the harmonica, so that's how they figured out. Oh, they're turning people into Goombas.
Wait, didn't they like hatch a baby T-Rex and like this is Yoshi?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Like it's a Yoshi.
And I'm gonna bring this other movie up too because it's one of my favorite movies, and I feel like we would be remiss to not bring it up during a video game movie discussion, even though it's not necessarily. You probably don't know what I'm gonna say.
Do it.
But Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, yes.
I think Wreck-It Ralph was phenomenal, and even though it wasn't based on an actual game, it felt so true to the video game culture.
Yes.
Yes,
like-
Wreck-It Ralph was great.
Yeah.
You know they made that game.
Yeah.
You can go on like Disney's
Yeah.
website and play that old 8-bit
Did they?
Yeah,
Wreck-It
you can
Ralph
play-
arcade game.
Fix It Felix?
Fix It Felix.
Yeah,
You
Fix
play.
It Felix.
It's that game is phenomenal. Or sorry, that game. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
that
thinking
movie-
about.
that movie.
That movie is absolutely phenomenal, and they paid so much homage to the video games that had come before that. Like the Bad Guys Anonymous
Yeah.
is probably the funniest thing.
Remember when he's
Ever.
like crashing his spaceship back into the surge protector, and like you could see in the corner he hits Sonic and all the rings burst out.
Oh, man.
Like that kind of crap, just
Yeah.
all over the place.
You know, to be honest, I think I spent more time pausing that movie just to figure out who's who
Yeah.
in that.
When Felix is trying to speak Cubernese to Cubert, that was They did a lot of really great things in that movie that just made you. Even the ones that were made up, like Fix It, Feel It Jr. and Sugar Rush.
Yeah.
Like you felt like those were real games. You could feel, you know what I mean? Like you felt like you could instantly relatable. Because I mean, obviously Sugar Rush was Mario Kart. You felt that. You felt that right away. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but the whole time I'm watching Sugar Rush, I'm sitting here playing. I want to play Sugar Rush. Like I think it's the coolest idea ever. The roster's different every time you go in.
Hey, maybe somebody should get on that.
They should. Kickstarter.
I wouldn't be surprised if Disney put out a collection of kind of games like that.
I mean,
system.
Yeah, I think
the fake games that they made, like that shooting the alien game where you climb the tower. That
I think
Ralph wanted to get his medal in.
Disney's a little too busy with that whole game. What is it? Disney Infinity.
Oh,
where it's like sort of like the Skylander.
Yeah.
Thing where you buy the figure.
Oh, you buy a little figure and you put it on the system and it reads it.
That's an interesting thing. Is there any other video game movies we want to touch on?
Well, you know, while we're on the subject of Q*bert a little bit there, did you know there was a Q*bert cartoon?
I did know that.
I saw this and a Pac-Man one too.
Yep.
Well, I knew there was a Pac-Man.
I caught one of these like on YouTube and I'm watching it and it's awful, even by 80s cartoon standards at the time. But I just thought, how'd you like to be the poor bastard that's got to stretch Q*bert into a cartoon? I mean, at least with something like Mario or Zelda, you have something to work with. But like Q*bert, it's like, here, make this a cartoon. Or Pac-Man. Like, yeah, make this a cartoon. And it's like, this is barely a game.
So did he speak like what he does in the video game? With like bleep blocks? Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded kind of almost like
Charlie Brown.
The Charlie Brown parents, only like not as like deep. But yeah, it was rough. I'm like, man, I can't believe they made that.
Right.
I also just want to point out that, like I said, the CGI or the animation is a lot better than the live action ones. I actually watched the CGI version of Resident Evil, and that one's a little bit more truer to the source. There's a Tekken cartoon, which is a lot better than the live action Tekken.
I think I watched the CGI. I think I watched the CGI Dead Space too.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Dead Space was good. I actually enjoyed the Dead Space movies.
Yeah, that one was.
Both of there's two of them.
It might have been anime now I think about it.
Yeah,
it might not have been CGI.
Yeah, it was cartoons. They were both animated. But there was two of them.
Yeah.
And they're both really good.
Wasn't there a time between like what happened before like Isaac got on the space station?
And then the second one was about Isaac.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I like the first one.
It was
I
really
didn't
good.
see the second one yet.
There's supposed to be another movie. I haven't seen it. If either one of you have seen it, I mean, feel free to chime in. But apparently Dante's Inferno. It's based on the video game Dante's Inferno.
I didn't know that was coming out. Is that live action?
No, I think
it's
already out.
It's out. It's
is
a
it?
cartoon. Yeah, that's why I asked if you guys had seen it or if you knew anything.
No, I think that it might have been on Netflix. I don't know if
It's still on Netflix.
Is it?
Yeah.
I might check that out. There was also the Devil May Cry cartoon, which was pretty good. You didn't like that one?
To be fair, though, I don't like the game, so I'm already.
I watched a Mega Man cartoon online the other day, and it was from the '90s. It wasn't like if you remember in Captain N, he had that like terrible box art look, where it was like green and like all short, like your he talked like that, like your Majesty, and shit. But they made like one that looked more true to it. I didn't like the art styles because they made like Mega Man and Roll and all them. They made them look like teenagers to young adults, and I kind of like the idea of him being a robot kid. Almost sort of like, kind of basically the homage to Astro Boy.
I hate Mega Man.
What?
I like Mega Man. I just feel like being.
That's the one where they have Scissor Man and the guy with the big jaw.
I mean, it wasn't a bad cartoon. It could have been a lot better.
Okay, well, if we're gonna bring up cartoons, then I'm gonna bring up the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon.
Which one?
Well, my
There's
favorite,
like three.
my favorite one is the one with Jaleel White, Steve Urkel.
You know what's funny?
Actually,
he
he was in
voiced
two of those.
all three.
There were three, wasn't it?
I think it might have been all three.
The one I like, and it might be
the one where he
you're
eats chili dogs
thinking.
all the time.
That's the first.
Well,
two.
then I like all of them. I don't tell you. I'm not sure.
I was actually surprised to find out that Michael Jaleel White was doing the voice for Sonic. I never knew that the whole time.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
I like the one that had like Princess Sally and a lot of
Not
the
that
characters
one.
from the comic
The
book.
Freedom Fighter one?
Not that
Yeah,
one.
I didn't like the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. where
That's
it's,
the
like,
one I like.
The insanity one.
Dude,
where,
that was like ridiculous though. It was
where
just,
like the robot blew on his thumb and it turned into a pumpkin.
Yep, I like that one.
that's the one that had the chicken robot,
See, but,
right?
but I like Adventure Time too.
Okay.
So I'm out there when it comes to cartoons.
And
I didn't like eco-terrorist Sonic.
I'm gonna,
Hey, tell me I'm wrong.
I'm gonna have
Anybody
to
out
go.
there, watch the Sonic Freedom Fighter one, where he's blowing up factories and people for no reason.
For no reason.
No one's attacking him. All he's doing is he's a terrorist. Go watch that. Go watch that.
The intro does look like that. It's like the SWAT bots aren't even attacking him. They're just sort of standing there.
Watch the cartoons. Some of the cartoons are like that. It's like, oh, what are we gonna do? We're just gonna blow up someone's fucking robotic shit for no reason. Okay.
Robotnik's like, I'm trying to bring world peace.
Yeah,
What are you
like-
trying to do?
Like Robotnik's taking a shit. Let's go stick a stick of dynamite up a robot's ass. Okay.
It turns out he was roboticizing people to save their lives. They
Yeah.
all had
they
their
all
own
had
medical
cancer.
conditions and
Yeah.
shit. He's like, I'm trying to save their lives. Like, fuck you. Yeah,
Sonic's like,
Gaia.
you don't understand Mother Nature.
Robotnik.
I'm sort of in between the ridiculous cartoon Sonic and the what Chris said, the eco-terrorist Sonic.
The one I really didn't like at all, and it didn't even have the ridiculous charm of Sonic Adventure, or Sonic Adventures of Sonic, is the Sonic X one. It just was stupid and boring. Like, I tried to watch it. He lives with the Sonic X one, he goes from his home dimension where anthropomorphic animals are normal to kind of Earth, and he lives with this young boy. He lives with a young boy, which is a little creepy in and of itself.
Like between CGI and real? Like
No,
live?
it had a heavy anime feel to it,
Oh,
and it
okay.
just like it was more modern. So it had characters like that, the Bat, I forget what her name, Rouge or something like that, and it had like, I know it had Knuckles in it, which the other two actually didn't, even though he was still kind of around at that point. I think it had like Shadow in it, and the more modern characters. But it's just so stupid. What other cartoons were out?
Wait, so is it like Sonic came into this world and it's normal?
Yeah, it's like
Like
Sonic
everybody
came into
didn't-
our world and just
nobody's
hangs
like-
out with
there's
a
no, like-
10-year-old boy for some reason.
There's no like black helicopters and
Yeah, you'd think,
an
the
army.
government would be
Like,
dissected.
what is this?
Like, how does Tails fly?
he just spins his tail and he's flying. How does this work?
They're
What's
like,
their physics?
they're cutting him up, X-raying him, trying to figure out how.
But I always had that same problem with like the movie Ted. I'm like, how the fuck is Ted not in the government lab? Like, there's no way they're letting this fucking
No, but
this
in
little
Ted
kid.
though, they're like they blew him up on the media and they're
Yeah,
like,
but who
oh, he's a
cares?
celebrity.
Yeah,
So they're not gonna. Either way, it doesn't matter. Okay, then why didn't they? I'm just saying, it's another one of those things. Though I don't care how big a celebrity would have been. You still would have been like, oh, Ted gone missing. You know?
Government's dissecting him.
Yeah, he was missing.
trying to figure out.
Yeah, fucking Mr. Dice T dancing. I think we're alone now. That was one of the best things.
You can't hear that song now without thinking.
No,
about it.
I can't. I see that fucking weirdo dancing.
Dude, that dance was kind of weird. I tried to.
He's done that dance before.
Seth
I
MacFarlane.
tried that dance. I can't recreate it.
Seth MacFarlane does that to music. I've found like what's that Eddie Rabbit song where it's like I love the rainy night, and like when Quagmire was like hearing it in his head. Now like before, if that song would have come on the radio, I wouldn't have thought it twice about it. I just would have completely ignored it. You know, maybe I'd have changed the channel but now it comes on the radio. I'm like Family Guy. Like I'm all happy that this mediocre song is on the radio now. What's the other one? The Bird is the Word.
The bird.
Like this
Bird.
I hated that song before that. Now I'm like, yes, bird is indeed the word.
That's like that. Suddenly,
Yeah.
love has new meaning to me.
Yeah, that's just become something I say when I like something now.
Yeah, they're really good at that.
Yeah,
Even the little joke songs that he came up with.
Yeah, the peanut butter jelly time.
Peanut butter jelly, yeah.
I was a
But
drunk old idiot.
drunk old engine sitting in his teepee, fire water keeping him
And the
warm.
prom night dumpster baby.
Yo, that.
I sing that in my head a little bit every time I see a baby.
She's got a great big Jewish nose and it's there 10 minutes before her wherever she goes.
What was that one that was?
That's gonna get edited out.
No,
No, it's not.
We're keeping
No,
that
it's not. That'll be the only thing this video is.
Of course, the German guy's like, Stein! Finally, some truth in this.
What were some other cartoons that they made based on video games? I know there was the Mario, obviously. It was the first one that was based on Mario 2, where like the wrestlers. There would be the live action scene before, and the wrestlers would jump into a pipe, and then you'd have the Mario cartoon. Except every Friday, it'd be Legend of Zelda.
Oh,
good old date rape from Zelda.
Are you talking about the Buddha Mario?
Yes,
you mean Ron Jeremy Mario.
The super horny brothers.
Hating life Mario, just dancing like a dumb schmuck that they paid me to.
I have to wonder, like, that do the Mario dance. It was like, do a Mario dance. And he's like, what the fuck is a Mario dance?
Yeah.
And he was just like,
do something.
Just stop moving my arms.
There's slap dance, monkey.
You want to be a star, don't you?
They finally started rolling film when he stopped crying. Yes.
You know, for the longest time, I thought that was Gene Shalit.
It does.
It looks just like him.
It does.
You know, he mentioned Ron Jeremy. The first time I ever discovered Ron Jeremy, I'm like, wasn't he in that Mario show?
Whoa.
So this is what happened.
So this, oh man. His
Mario really is laying the pipe.
Mario, the Wonder Years.
And then they turned it to like the
Or the
Mario
Wonder
3
Years,
show. Based, and then when they cut out the live action stuff, and then I think it was like Mario World. But do you remember Captain N?
Oh yeah.
He gets you don't remember that at all, do you, Jay?
Yeah. He
you
had
do
like
remember?
what's it, Belmont with him?
Belmont, yep.
He used to shoot people with his duck hunt pistol.
Do you guys remember? Oh fuck! I just had the name in my head. It's gone now. It's called Nick Arcade.
Wasn't that like they green screen him into
yes,
like a video
they
game
sent
or
him
something?
into the video zone.
They'd ask him like trivia, but then they'd make him play like an arcade
Yes,
game or something.
yes. I was back in like the early '90s.
Wait, was that the one that had the paperboy where you had to like dodge?
Yes.
Stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You got it now. Yes. It was like they combined video game trivia with like the virtual reality of it. You know what I mean? They had all those things, and yeah, they did the green screen stuff.
Paperboy was kind of the first game where you acted like an asshole.
'Cause-
That I remember, because you purposely like you got points by throwing papers through windows and hitting dogs with it.
Man, that's a.
It was kind of the first like act like an asshole game.
Like the whole point of the game was like you would advance through to like beat the video game wizard. Like
The Game Genie.
yeah.
Is this Morpheus? Or is this the Matrix that you're in? And then
No,
you
just
have to
like,
be.
it's like someone's Uncle Stu downstairs with a box of fudgesicles trying to get some kids to play with them.
So long as you don't have
The
to.
video game wizard touchy basement.
Daddy Yankee.
So long as you don't have to deal with the architect.
Yeah.
You know what I always find funny? The Will Ferrell architect
Yeah.
version. Piece of me.
Oh man, the second Matrix movie.
Hands where I can see him.
Oh, that movie was so awful.
You know they had a Street Fighter cartoon.
Did they?
Yeah.
The first one was good.
And then they kind of lost me after they started making the alphas.
I know they made a Darkstalker cartoon.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I've only seen like parts of it. And it was still in Japanese. It was an anime.
Oh man, the Felicia.
Damn right you would.
There is no way they can put that on TV and be like, yeah, this is normal.
Yeah, Morgan.
This is all right.
It's like here's a succubus ready to suck blood right out of your dick.
Oh, she will suck something, all right.
What's the other one?
Can we edit that one?
No, that's staying in.
That's staying in. We'll do it
Oh,
live.
goodness.
You ever play a game on the Sega Saturn called Pretty Fighter?
No.
Pretty Fighter?
I played Rumble Roses.
I remember that.
But
the PS2.
what teenage boy didn't play Rumble Roses?
But I remember, because I didn't have a Sega Saturn, but I remember a buddy did, and it was like right out of Japan. I don't think it was even directly sold in the US. He bought it online back when buying online was like almost scandalous to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was, I have no idea what the stories were. Like the cuts, it was a fighting game, but like in between there'd be cutscenes, and like one of them is just like two chicks in a hot tub soaping each other up.
What?
And they're given and topless, and they're given some sort of they're given some sort of like story speech, like exposition
Like
or whatever.
bubble text?
Yeah, they're talking on and on about whatever this story is, but it was all girls that you fought as, and it was all like a stripper or a nun or a school teacher or a policewoman or something like that. It was the female village people kind of thing. And like there were moves like you'd spank your opponent. There was one where you had I guess your boyfriend. You'd summon some guy in boxer shorts to run by and like run into her and then run across the screen. And I'm like, how is this a game? Because I was like 12 and I thought this was the dirtiest, coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Man,
Awesome.
that makes you question. Like, I mean, I've seen some ridiculous, like Dead or Alive beach volleyball.
Yeah, that's great.
It's just TNA. There's like
Clearly,
nothing to it. Like, the first thing you do
How is
is
it that-
you go shopping.
Suck on that feminist frequency.
Yeah, how has she not brought those up?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
She wants to harp on Mario, but Dead or
How
Alive.
about
just escapes
Rumble
her.
Roses?
Yeah,
or
Rumble
as I
Roses.
like to call it, big bouncing titties.
That's completely escaped her notice.
Let's go mud wrestling.
Because she likes those games. She's a dirty girl.
Why is Mario getting the brunt of this?
Yeah, how is Mario the sex?
Because some old mustached Italian dude had his way with her, and she's all grumped out now. And
Was it Ron Jeremy
it was Ron Jeremy.
or Gene Shalit?
it was Gene Shalit.
Yeah, if it was
confetti around.
If it was Ron Jeremy, we'd know because you'd hear a whistle when she sat down.
Oh man, she'd be fidgeting in her chair a lot as the video goes on.
Man, we sound just like what is it?
Massage.
We sound very misogynist.
Well,
right?
I kind of am.
I mean, we really.
I am a misogynist.
Let's just bring it back to the whole feminist frequency thing. There is no way we can not sound misogynist. I mean,
You want to know something? That's just the way things are. Okay, like a lot of these games she talks about, like the Super Mario ones. You're gonna kidnap the rich girl, okay? Because Dad's gonna pay more for her, okay? Especially more than the retarded kid that's running around outside cutting grass down with a wooden sword. Okay, they're not gonna take him. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is.
I don't think Hyrule's skipping a beat if they kidnap Link.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of these games, just the time period they take place in, women were just fairer.
Yeah.
You know, they were you know what I mean? That's not to say they weren't tough and they weren't strong. It's just that, you know, that's just what they did.
Yeah, both Mario and Zelda take place in a sort of medieval time.
Because
Mario's a little grayer, but still.
She's looking at the wrong part. She's like, oh, it's the maiden in distress. That's not. She needs to pay attention to the bigger picture. What it is there's a sociopath looking for attention. So he's gonna take the thing that's gonna get him the most attention, which is the young female. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. She needs to fucking chill out. You know, like instead of being, oh, the girl did this. How about why did the guy do that? If you want to get all fucking psychological about it, how about we stop it like, oh, well, my teacher at Brown said this, and how about we do a little of our own thinking?
Well, you know, while we're thinking, it occurs to me that Bowser has at least 8 kids, and there's no female Bowser anywhere. So I think we know what was happening.
How do you know Bowser's not a female?
Well, I'm just saying.
How do you know he's not laying his Bowser eggs?
Well, then where's the male?
Maybe he's like a worm.
I don't know.
Asexual. Maybe he's fertilizing his own eggs.
I'm just saying.
Maybe for years he was flushing those things down the toilet, and then one day he got a little kinky. He's like, "Oh shit, it's a baby."
What do I do?
He's like, "I'm about to start me a little army." Too bad, you know, half of them are retarded, need glasses, but.
I'm just saying, like, my theory is that now we know what he was doing to the princess when he captured her. Like, the poor deer had to lay eggs, you know, which might have been what happened to poor Feminist Frequency that set her off so mad.
Turtle Dragon. Daddy Yankee.
That's nice.
Well, this show's coming off the rails, so we should probably...
All right, you guys have a great night. This is Chase.
That's how you just gonna end it?
Yep.
Yes.
This Chase?
This is Chase.
This is-
You think you're gonna say follow us on Twitter and like us on
How I was
Facebook?
gonna let you guys say stuff before I did that.
All right.
We ought to leave this
Way
in,
to
too.
way to just jump the gun and assume
Pow
terrible things. Let's start over again.
Okay.
We
This
really
is
ought to
Jay.
leave this in.
Hey,
We're doing live.
do it live.
Do it live.
This is Chase.
It's Chris.
This is Nick.
Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. And do all that other happy stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube page.
Yes, sir. I hope you guys enjoyed this segment. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter.